All right, guys, welcome. Micro workshop on your feet. Let's get right into it. This is a complex topic. I want you to think of your feet as four parts: toes, foot, arches, ankle. We could break it down more, right? We could go soles of the feet, we could go heels, we could go individual arches. Four parts. Toes, the foot is going to be like the middle part, like the big bones in the foot. Toes, foot, arches, ankle, just to keep it simple, okay? Four parts. Now, the feet, or we know in myology, we're all muscle tension patterns start. So, say you have chronic back pain or hip pain, knee pain, we like start looking at the feet and kind of work up because that's where the body's stabilizing your weight and that tension runs up the line. In the ancient acupressure, the acupuncture, half of your energy lines all start in points in your foot and they run up the legs. Okay, so we're going to start with just some simple things here. I want to get right into it. So foot articulation to start. This is combining a lot of exercises we'll go over in more detail. Let's start seated. I want to bring a lot of awareness into the feet, okay? So I'm just going to make sure I sit up nice and tall with my legs straight. Now, right on what we call the sagittal plane. We're not doing any, inversion, eversion, pronation, supination, none of that. What we're doing is sitting up tall. Now watch what I do. I point the foot. Remember, the foot is separate from the toes. Look at my toes. They're pulling back. And watch the toes. I point the toes. So now my foot and my toes are pointed. Now watch. I keep my toes pointed. I pull the feet back. You see how my toes are still like curled? And then watch. Flex the toes. So now my ankle is flexed, my foot is pulling back, and my toes are flexing. So this is a non-weight bearing exercise. It's more of like a mobilizer. Watch, I point just the toes. So let's call it a curl with your toes, okay? And then I'm gonna point the foot as well. Just pull back your toes. Point the foot though. See the arch develop? Look at the arch build in my foot, right? And then watch, I pull back the feet as well. So dorsiflexion, that's called in our ankles. Just point your toes, but pull your feet back. That's tough. Point your foot now. We're gonna go through some stuff, yogis, all right? So let's keep going. Just flex your toes. Hold, hold, hold. Push out through like the big toe. So it is pronation a little bit. Pull the foot back. So this pointing of the toe, pointing of the foot. So that's called plantar flexion in the ankle, okay? Flex the toe, flex the foot. Point the toe, point the foot. So you see how it's all those parts in the top and bottom of the foot? Flex the foot, flex the toe, keep the foot flexed, point the toe. Squeeze there, guys. You're gonna see that exercise again because we really need to activate the toes a lot more. Point the toe, okay? And now watch just to start, kind of roll your ankles. You want to take your ankles through complex range of motion a lot. That's really important, guys, okay? So I'm just circling active. Now, if I had 2 hours, I would make you do this really slow and like pulse, but we're just doing the micro version. This is good enough. We could just spend 10 minutes on just this one, okay? Now watch what I'm gonna do here. This is a little confusing, legs straight. I'm gonna turn the outer edges of my feet out. You see how my feet, soles of my feet turn outward slightly, actively. Now watch, I turn the soles of the feet toward each other. So this is called supination, pronation. I want you to learn how your foot works. The big toe, the mound of the toe, pushes forward, so it turns the outer edges of my feet outward. Does everyone get that? It's very subtle now. I'm not doing resisted form. Okay, so if you want the demo from this angle, I turn the feet out. You see that? It's barely. And then I turn the feet kind of toward each other. And I actively squeeze. If we had a long workshop, I'd be making you sit here and hold, hold, hold. Okay? Turn the feet out, turn the feet in. Turn the feet outward, turn the feet in. Pronation is tough. When we do that, even if we're doing the stretch, so we do like the stretch like this. See how much more range of motion I get than here? We're going to do this in a moment too. Okay? So let's just keep it simple there. We have those actions of the forward and back movements. And then we have this kind of eversion, inversion, or pronation, supination. little different, but we'll just keep it simple. See this? Next exercise, grab your left foot, take your 4 fingers, index finger between big toe, let me get closer, between big toe and second toe. Middle finger between the 2 middle toes there. You see this? The idea is to toe spread with assist. Okay, so look how I get the hands in there. I spread those toes. Now look what I'm doing. I'm sitting up tall. See how I'm spreading them here? And then watch what I do. I spread, I kind of move them around. Yogis, it's very easy for our feet to get stiff. They're bearing our weight all day. That's the recipe for stiffness, is weight bearing and lack of complex movement. So I'm going like this. You see that? I'm just kind of getting in there. Now watch what I do. I kind of spread and then see if you can, this is tough. What you're gonna do is spread your toes with your fingers and see if you can use your toes to squeeze your fingers laterally, not forward back, but to the side. So I spread with my fingers and I squeeze. Spread with my fingers, then I resist that with the toe, I squeeze. So it's abduction, adduction. So if this was my toes, I'm using my fingers to spread, and then watch what my toes would do, squeeze. Spread, squeeze, spread, squeeze. That's the, it's one of the most important exercises. If you don't have these are called yogi toes. We have about 3 pairs laying around the house. When I'm just hanging out, and if anything hurts in my feet and ankles, if I'm thinking stretch, I do this. So I put them between my feet, my toes, and I just let them sit there and stretch it out. Really important, guys. It's gonna release a lot of the deepest adhesion in these bones in the foot. Keep those toes spreading. Okay? We gotta keep moving though, right? Oh, did you do your second foot? Let's do it quick, just since we're doing it as a group. So yeah, like, I didn't want to spend time now. Like, I'd rather get to another exercise, but you did 1 foot, right? Ooh, and I noticed my right foot actually, look at what happened. I didn't do my toe spreaders in like a week probably, and I separated the big toe. Ooh, and I feel some pain in there. It's hyperadducted. That can cause bunions to develop, where the big toe is being merged in too much. So we're trying to spread, not only passively stretch, but actively moving and resisted. Now we're going to do active, non-resisted. So a big thing we do in yoga, guys, is to actively work on spread the toes. I haven't been speaking to it enough, and that's not good. But hey, you know, no, it's perfect there. And you gotta, so what we're going to do eventually is just work on spreading our toes. So we're spreading the toes. Now you can just have your heels on the floor, just so you can see. And now, no rush, I gotta keep moving so we can cover some ground here, guys. And hopefully maybe you're taking a note here and you can do these exercises on yourself. So I wanna work on actively, this is subtle work. Spreading the toes. Okay? And you can get a little bit more detailed, spreading the big toe from the second toe, and then trying to isolate your body awareness, spreading the pinky toe out, starting on kind of the ends. And I can tell I haven't been doing this enough, you know, they're stiff right now. There was a time when I could do it a lot better. Kind of like any muscle, if you don't use it, you lose it, right? So it all starts with trying. I'm trying to spread my toes laterally to the sides, not forward and back yet. We're gonna do that next. Yes, it's tough. Now, in detail, like I said, you try to do individual toes and you're spreading your toes, okay? My pinky toe does not want to spread right now. The other ones will spread okay, but not the pinky toe. All right, now watch what I do here, guys. I'm gonna show you on 1 foot. I want you to try to press your big toe forward and pull these toes toward you. Remember how we did this and this? Now it's kind of articulating detail. My big toe presses forward. My inner foot almost presses into. Look at my other toes pulling back. See that? And then look, I switch. So I try to pull my big toe forward toward me. Now, in detail, we would do it in both flexion, dorsiflexion, and plantar. Let's not be too confusing here. Like I said, we could easily make this 2 hours, easily. And look at that. See how I switch? It's just forward and back to start. This gets a lot more detailed. You see this? The four toes are kind of moving together. It's really big to understand the role the big toe plays in, you know, your locomotion health, like your walking health. We're going to do that to close it all up, kind of walking practice, because that is really, you know, the key. Like I said, your feet are bearing your weight. Now do your other foot if you haven't. See that? What's fun is when we get into resisted work there, but this is non-resisted. It's just activating through range. In a sense, you're going like that. See this? Kind of. Show you on my hand. Okay. The big toe is pulling back as the other toes go forward, and then it's vice versa. Now we do it passively too. I'm just not doing that. You do it with like all the toes. See how I'm going here? And then like you go like this too. So we did this kind of pronation, supination. We also do that in passive assisted. Do you see this? Sorry, yogis, I'm moving quick today, all right? Because we're not gonna cover even close to half the stuff I have on my list here. You see this, how I push the big toe forward and pull the outer foot back, and then I go like that? That's a big reason that our foot gets really tight is the pronation supination line. And it's really not clearly seen by a lot of us who understand the foot even. Hold on one sec, guys. All right, I want to keep going though now, all right? Let's stand up, please. So the next thing is just arch activation. And our most simple way of doing this is lifting the toe. Now watch my arch here, guys. See how the arch is still lifted, but watch what happens when I lift my toes. You see how the arch lifts? Then I lower down. Lift, big toe, all toes feel it. This is basically the most practical, easy to do arch builder. Do you see this? Watch, see my arch lift? That is gonna build your arch. So if you have flat arches, it's usually like one of the #1 recommended exercise in like arch therapy, where look at that. I'm pulsing and I'm even holding. Now you gotta be careful because what's that gonna do? It's gonna make the top of your foot very tight also. You can feel that. Do your second side if you're doing it. See how my arch lifts? Do you feel that? If I gotta pick one exercise to give you, it might be that, right? Keep going. Okay, so right to go into it, that's activating the top of your foot and it pulls your arch up because antagonist tension. Now, what we want to do, just to keep it simple, we're going to go into the ankle because that all connects, is we'll start with the back since that was the front. Good old calf raises, yogis. If your arches are weak, you need to do this every day. Now, be easy because a flat arch sometimes means a weak arch, sometimes. I know people with really strong soles of the foot, plantar fascia, and they have the flat arch. Those people would lean a little bit more towards release, which we're gonna do in a moment. That's it, boom. Now, this is a not hyper range. You wanna be careful if you have plantar fascia. Now, what I would do is a lifted version. So you can see my heel now. What it is bringing my foot above. So in essence, be careful. You can't really do this like this because this can happen, right? Where you go, you don't really want that, guys. So I do it on like a stair. So I have stairs here. I'll put the ball of my foot on the stair. My heel will dip below the stair. And then I push through the ball of my foot slowly, skillfully, lift the heel higher than the stair. So if this part was my toes and this was my heel, you're going like this more range calf raise. I think it's important to show you that, you know, so you're kind of like this. See what happened there? I can't really do it. It's hard to demo. So the heel would go lower and the heel would go higher. A nice way to do this, you know, if you know, say you're not comfortable with all that weight, the soles of your feet hurt. A nice way to do that is called resisted plantar flexion. So again, I didn't want to show you everything, but it looks kind of like this. See, I'm using a band. I'm sitting up tall. And I'm doing a little resisted work. This is an elastic band. You can use a strap. You just got to give a little bit, okay? So that's the same exercise. Yogis, you got weak feet. You got to do that like every day. You can just be in your bathroom brushing your teeth. You don't even need to be warmed up. You just do a few of these. I promise that's a game-changing exercise. Now, what do we got to think? The opposite. It's called a shin contraction, a shin raise. Now, the easiest way to kind of do this in a practical sense, less range is something like this. Keep moving my camera here, guys. So watch my foot, just that. Stand up tall. I press my heel down and I bring the shin toward the I bring the foot toward the calf. And it's really, yogis, I want you to notice, do you bring the outer edge of your foot or your big toe more? And do the opposite. Where's your compensation? Do you see that? You know, when I was in I remember when you're teaching people to heal their knees too, this is a big thing. It's the shin raise. So the way I do this a lot is like this. So look at this. I put my butt against the wall. My feet are about 2 feet, 1.5 feet from the wall. And I do the same thing. This allows me to put more weight. Now my legs are more straight here. You can do it bent, but you're not gonna get it as much. My legs are straight, my butt and back are against the wall. Do you see what I do? I put my heels down, I tap the big toe, I push down. See how my toes are lifted on the outer edge? Remember we did that? Calf raise. Big toe down, toes lift, calf raise. All toes down, excuse me, not calf raise, shin raise. Do you see this? And then what I'll do is I'll hold and a little pulse. And I'm strengthening, look at this, the knee down to the front of the ankle to the foot. Remember we did this, which lifts my arch. Now we're doing this. We did this, now we're doing this. This is an underdone exercise. I do it, you know, when I'm doing my practice, I do this at least once a week, maybe twice a week, good strong. I did 3 rounds yesterday, right through here, strengthening. Shin raise. Don't forget it, yogis. There's contraptions you can use, but I'm not going to worry about that. Now, that is to strengthen this supination, pronation, flexion. That's called extension, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion. Now I want to go to the sides. We keep doing this. We're here, we're going forward and back, then we're going in and out. Got it? Now we're going to do balance. We do it in yoga all the time. So simple is this. That's simple. I'm letting the weight go in and out. Do you see this? I'm exaggerating so you can see it. I press my big toe down, then I got to shift to the outer. I press my big toe down. Oh, it's easy. Lift your toes and do it too. Keep the arch building while there's supination, pronation more in the mound of the foot. Try to lift the pinky toe. Now, what I want to eventually get you to, remember we've done the 2-foot balance too? This is how I teach it in yoga a lot. 1-foot balance, 2-foot balance, calf raise balance. I also do the heel balance sometimes in yoga. All these kind of different categories of balance. But yogis, if you really want to heal your ankle, your foot, your ankle, remember the ankle strength, calf, shin strength is going to connect to the foot strength and heal the arch and the toes. So remember, you know, the main thing to start was the calf raise, okay? Then it's like the shin raise. And now I'm showing you what's called a wobble board. These are $20 on Amazon, and it's incredible what it can do for your body. Now, I'm going to show you 1 foot. You can start with 2 feet. It's a lot easier. When I work with like kids or people I'm working with, it's like this. So let me just show you this. The first goal is to stay in the middle. Do you see how I'm not letting the sides touch down? Look at all the fire I'm getting. Now look at, I'm actually lifting my toes and doing it too. I'm applying all the same principles. This is one of the best investments you can make for your physical health. Okay, look at all this firing. It's going to change how you walk. It's so much core. Now, as you get better at this, watch. I tap the front down, I tap the back down. Front, back. Same thing. It's calf raise, shin raise, calf raise, shin raise. So then I go like this, side to side, supination, pronation. Try to press the big toe down. And then I go, watch, like I'm surfing. Back right corner, front right corner. I know I'm giving you a lot right now, yogis, but it's all about the learning process, and we're just building up to what we're doing here. Back left heel, front right toes. Back left heel, front right toes. And then eventually it's this. See how I roll around? Press those big toes down. If you notice, what I want you to do is really work on pressing your big toe down if you don't. You see how I'm rolling around? And then what do you think happens? It's all on one foot. So balance barred, don't let the sides go down. Then it's forward, back, side, 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 side. Be careful, right? You don't have to touch it down. And then eventually it's like this kind of thing. The goal, an arch is like strength, right? An overarch is usually considered like tightness, and underarch is like weakness. Just like your biceps can get weak or your abs, the muscles in the bottom of your foot can get abs, but what makes that arch create is the muscles that are pulling through it, usually considered calf, shin, outer, and into the ankle, into the foot. So it's all what we call a muscle chain. We need to strengthen this chain to pull through and up. And the bottom of it is the toes. So I just showed you that. Let's keep going here. Just, shake your muscles out for a moment. Now I'm going to switch gears and teach massage. So I have this thing, this is a special little, it's my favorite, little simple massage thing. It's called like a Yamuna. You see the brand there? I don't know if you can see it. Yamuna, Y-A-M-U-N-A. They're like overpriced, but you can find these cheaper variations. It's a little spiked half sphere. Looks like it's perfect for your arch, right? And if you have tight arches, putting your arch in your foot and kind of going forward and back over this, really amazing. I like it better than the tennis ball. Even though the tennis ball, a pair of these on Amazon costs like $60. It's really, I got it just for purposes of teaching and stuff, and it is my favorite. But notice I want to go like forward and back on like the outside of the foot. You see how I'm almost opening? I go in the middle, and then I go on the inside. Notice how we started with strength and movement, not really massage though, guys. Okay? Massaging will soften things that stretching will not though, right? And then watch what I do. I kind of bring it up to the ball of the foot, and I go side to side. That sometimes is the game changer. It's right across here, like here, okay? It's like the knuckles of the foot. Okay, and then I would do my second side, and that's the simple variation. There's a lot of videos on YouTube about this, about how to use this. The woman who created this, the Yamuna, she has like all these videos that you can watch, and this is it in a nutshell. It's like the outside forward and back, the middle forward and back, the inside forward and back. I forgot the heel, side to side. She does like the circling on the heel. Really good. And then she does the ball of the foot. Press the big toe down, supination, pronation, same thing, right? Now with tennis balls, I have this little ball here. It's like the same thing, kind of forward and back, inner, outer, heel, mound of the foot, side to side. There it is in a nutshell, yogis. I'd rather kind of cover some ground because the feet are so complex, it's crazy. Now, let's put some of this stuff together. There's a lot of things we could do here. If you think of, if you believe a certain linear thing of science, we evolved from primates, and their feet are more like hands, right? So which means maybe our feet used to be more like hands, but then we started putting shoes on. The feet keep lacking articulation. That's what I love about yoga. It's barefoot. Now, watch what I'm gonna do. I have my toes on, and what I'm gonna do is pretend like I'm scrunching up the towel. You see how I'm using it like fingers, and I'm squeezing the towel toward me. Now, another fun drill you can do is say you have a 10 marbles. You kind of pick a marble up, bring it over here, put it down. You pick a marble up, put it down. These are all different things you could do and do the similar thing. But what I'm trying to do is bunch. This is the opposite of this, guys, when we did this, remember? Now, this is key, guys. This is, if I had to pick another one, this might be it, right? So I'm going like this. See how I'm bunching it up and it keeps getting smaller? I'm working on making a fist, let's say, with my toes. Now notice, is it all big toe? Get it in that pinky toe more. Try to squeeze with that pinky toe. And you can feel all that working underneath. The bottom of the foot is getting stronger, okay? If you're doing one side, since we're doing it quick, please go ahead and do your other side. My right foot is a little bit stronger than my left. I've had a few injuries in my past in my left foot, ankle, knee, and hip. And, you know, I dislocated my hip years back in about 2013 or 12. And it really affected how my foot worked because the leg was so hurt for a little while that the foot is all messed up from it too. So you see this? Does everyone see? See the arch lift? Just in like a different way, right? So take another moment there. Let me check my little list here. Oh boy, it's already 10:57. You know, I would really like to get into you know, the difference between our calf muscles. Maybe in part 2, we'll bring it up more. We'll also, I mentioned this stretch, guys. This is really important. If you have like tight ankles, so if you want to do that quick here, this is actually pretty important here. You go on the outer edges of the feet, and then look, I press the big toe down, and I lift the outer edges. See that? It's barely. My knees can bend slightly, and my knees can knock together a little bit, so it is adduction too. And then I go here, here. So more like lateral movements in the feet. We tend to think like very forward and back, but I really want you to start to free up and strengthen, mobilize these kind of lateral movements in the feet. Look how I press the big toe down, lift the toes. And then I roll out, the toes can pull back. You can add all those, you can add all these things we're learning throughout all the exercises, okay? So that's really important there, guys. There is this stretch here, if the top of your foot's tight, where I go like that. See where I really crunch the toes under? We were just kind of going like this. Now, it's more like the stretch through the front of the ankle. A lot of times in yoga, I do it like this, or like even this. You'd be surprised how much releasing the front of the ankle can really help. What happens is certain muscles get so, it's called like a compensation or dominance pattern. Like say your psoas gets so tight, it's like your body won't even let you strengthen your glutes. So like stretching the psoas and then hitting that glute reciprocal inhibition. You know, sometimes like a muscle, like your quad will get so dominant, it won't let your hamstring work as much or your glutes. So that can happen in the ankle too. Like this will be so tight that it gets very difficult to bring a lot of strength here. All right, guys, I do want to take time for this walking demo. Now, it all relates to walking. What is the main action our foot are always doing? It's locomotion. Now, like I mentioned, I'd love to talk about the IT band and quad and hamstring, the inner thigh. We're not going to do it today. We're going to stay in the lower part. Walking practice, okay? Now, I mentioned heel, arches of the foot, outer inner edge, mound of the foot, toes, ankle. Walking practice is so key. Sometimes I see people I'm working with and they want to like heal, and then we'll spend like a half an hour on walking practice, and it's subtle, but it's really important, yogis. Now I want you to listen. As I bend my left knee, my right heel goes forward. We're really breaking this down. My heel goes down through the center. Listen, I slightly go to the outer edge of the foot. So I go heel through the outer edge to the mound before the pinky toe. Listen, across the mound to the mound of the big toe, and then I press my big toe down. That's it, like broken down. It's heel, outer edge, across the mound to the big toe. Heel, outer edge, across the mound to the big toe. If you've ever seen a footprint, the footprint is not the inner middle arch or the inner arch. The footprint is heel, across, down the outside, across the mound. So I call this the mound or the ball of the foot. This again, the knuckle, see this part? So what happens is the weight hits here, and then it goes here, 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 here. Okay, now I'm doing that for, let's call it physical therapy reasons. Do your outer toes hit? Yes. Does the inner arch hit still a little? Yes. We don't want to build an unhealthy hyper arch either. So I broke that down, but now from an isolated approach to the compound approach. Heel, outer arch, mound of the big toe, big toe. So now, does everyone get isolated versus compound? We broke it down into parts, now we put it all together. Walking practice. I'm not going to get into the idea of using your extension better. In walking practice, the butt and the calf muscle propel has to come into play. I know it sounds weird, yogis, but walking practice. You know, these things like walking and posture, they are the foundations of our musculoskeletal body. They cannot just be taken lightly. It's kind of like, you know, nutrition and breathing and sleep. These are the most fundamental things we do regularly for our wellness. They can't just be taken lightly. There's got to be a lot of attention to the subtle foundations of how our body works daily. The big yoga poses are fun, squatting, lunges, but how much more you're doing these just natural things built deep within our like instincts and psyche that just happen on an unconscious level. If we change the fundamentals, breathing, posture, walking, sleeping, eating, that's how you actually change on a functional level. You know, things like I mentioned, lunge, things that we don't do much of really in life. It's good stuff and all, but it all comes down to these foundations, okay? And the yogis take that a lot further, you know, like with these practical things. So it's heel, outer arch, across the mound, from the pinky mound to the big toe mound, big toe. And that is the rehabilitative approach. Obviously, you're not going to walk in your morning walk that detailed, but I've had clients, I have a woman who's in her 80s, and sometimes we do these privates. And what do? We go for a walk together. And what do I have her do? I have her do a couple postural corrections. I have her do walking practice. I have her do postural practice, breathing practice, and bending over practice. That's it. And we'll spend an hour and a half. Okay? Let me just check my list, yogis. See if there's anything I have to cover. There's a lot of things we're missing here, yogis. But I think it's a really good start. In the advanced toe articulation, they have you do things like, you know, write the alphabet with your big toe, and then your second toe, then your third toe. You would literally, you know, be like I am right now, and you're writing the alphabet with each toe. It's crazy. It takes a long time, but that is an advanced thing once you're getting good at this stuff. We do the crossing of the toes. I didn't cover that. Maybe next time. I think that's a good start. I gave you a lot. I covered more than I hoped. Notice it started with non-weight bearing so we can move the foot. Remember, point the foot, point the toe, flex the foot, and there's that. And then it's kind of like this without weight. And then what did we do? We did calf raises and shin raises, toe raises, toe crunches. I kind of forgot. I meant to do this where we did it in the, when we were doing this, but it's like pressing your big toe down, lifting your outer toes, pressing your outer toes, lifting the big toe. So that's that same thing we did non-weight bearing. So notice how it went from non-weight bearing, non-resisted into resisted weight bearing. That's important to recognize. Notice how it went from point flex in out to rotations, and then I had you do it in balance. So we did weight bearing flexion pointing, toes and ankles, inner outer weight bearing, and then I took it all together on the balance board. This together, and then one. And then we took it all into a functional pattern, walking, okay? So that's the kind of overview of what we did, how we did, and why we did. So I think that'll be good today. Micro workshop, just so I don't keep you here all day. That's a good 35 minutes or so. I am recording this. I can send you a private link. The way the private links work is, I've had some people, I forgot, I can allow you to record this, and I kind of forgot to do that. That was silly. But I can give you access to actually record the class. I do have it recorded. I know some of you have asked for foot therapy. Send me an email. Give me a day or two, and I'll try to get you that, because I have to upload it to YouTube. I have to set up all the stuff, and then I can email you a link, and then you'll have access to it because it's private, okay? So I hope that helped, yogis. Foot therapy, we did wrist last week. I'm gonna do like pelvic tilt and posture. I'm gonna do inversion. We're gonna do neck therapy. And we're also, I got quite a few things planned for this, even some strengthening workshops. Like, how do we hit our glutes really good? How do the abs function? How can we hit the lower back? So I really like this idea going forward. Thank you guys. I won't keep you longer. Namaste. Appreciate you guys. Hopefully that was good stuff. And if you have any questions, send me an email. I don't mind. Just give me I'm a hippie yoga teacher. Give me a day or two to get back to you at least. All right. Thanks, guys.